Have you ever checked your bank account and thought, wait, where did my money go? Yeah, that was me. I remember one morning I logged in feeling confident. I'd just gotten a raise, I was working hard, living the dream. But the screen said $14 or $63. My fridge was emptier than a college student's, but somehow I had the latest phone, a gym membership I never used, and enough Amazon boxes to build a small fort. That day, I finally realized I wasn't broke because I didn't make enough. I was broke because I kept buying things that quietly stole my future. Since then, I've learned that getting rich isn't about earning more. It's about stopping the financial leaks that keep you poor. And in this video, I'll share the 10 things I stopped buying. The exact ones that changed everything for me. Stick around till the end, because number 10 was the one that nearly bankrupted me. Welcome to FinZebra. Hit that subscribe button, not for me, but for your future self who will thank you later. I used to upgrade my phone every single year. Didn't matter if the one I had was working perfectly fine. Apple announced something new, and suddenly my phone felt ancient. I remember camping out in front of a store at midnight once, freezing, holding a cup of coffee that cost more than my dinner, just so I could be one of the first to get the latest iPhone. When I finally got it, I felt on top of the world. For about 2 weeks. Then they announced a newer one, and I was right back to feeling behind again. That's the trap. We don't buy the new phone because we need it. We buy it because we're afraid of being the only one left with the old thing. It's status anxiety dressed up as progress. One day, I actually compared my old phone and the cutting-edge new one. Same calls, same texts, same photos. Well, maybe the new one made my dog's nose look slightly sharper, but that didn't make my life better. What it did make was my credit card bill bigger. My old phone could still do everything. Call, text, take pictures, and, let's be honest, still go into debt if I wasn't careful. That's when it hit me. Rich people don't chase upgrades for validation. They upgrade for efficiency. They see technology as a tool, not a trophy. When they buy something new, it's because it saves time, improves productivity, or grows their income. Meanwhile, I was burning money just to keep up with people who didn't care what phone I had in the first place. So, I made a deal with myself. No more upgrades unless my device is literally dying. The $1,000 I would have spent on a new phone, I threw it into an ETF instead. You know what? A year later, that money grew faster than my phone ever could. If you stop chasing the next big thing, you'll realize the tech you already have is good enough, and so are you. And speaking of being good enough, wait until you hear how my $5 habits were secretly sabotaging me every single day. For years, my mornings didn't officially start until I had my $6 coffee in hand. I called it my productivity fuel. Truth is, it was my savings killer in disguise. I'd tell myself it was just $6, no big deal, a small reward for working hard. But then one day, while waiting for my drink, I did something dangerous. I opened the calculator app. $6 a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. That's $1,500 just to stay awake, add a few pastries and weekend treats, and suddenly my caffeine addiction was costing me over $2,000 a year. $2,000 that could have been working for me in an investment account, compounding, growing, quietly building my future, instead of vanishing into foam and caramel drizzle. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love coffee, but there's a difference between enjoying it and depending on it financially. These small daily comforts sneak under the radar. They don't feel expensive until you add them up, and that's how most people stay broke. Not by buying one big thing, but by bleeding money slowly, one little swipe at a time. So I made a small change. I started brewing at home. It wasn't glamorous, but saving $5 a day meant an extra $1,500 a year. That's a weekend getaway, a new investment, a chunk off your credit card debt. Simple steps, big results. Wealth isn't built in one big moment. It's saved in the small ones you ignore. And speaking of small mistakes that add up, let me tell you how I once started wearing my paycheck. Literally. I used to think dressing rich would make me rich. You know that feeling when you walk into a store, try on a jacket, and suddenly feel like you belong to a different tax bracket? That was me. I once bought a $500 leather jacket because I was sure it would make me look successful. The problem was, after swiping my card, I barely had enough left in my account to fill up my gas tank. So there I was, looking like a millionaire, but driving on fumes. That's the funny thing about image. We spend money trying to look like we've made it, instead of using that money to actually make it. I didn't buy that jacket because I needed it. I bought it because I wanted people to see me and think, he's doing well. Truth is, nobody cared. People are too busy worrying about their own lives to notice your brand labels. It took me years to realize that buying things to impress others is like renting confidence. It feels good for a moment, but it doesn't last. And the rent is due every month. Wealthy people get this. They wear the same plain t-shirts, drive the same reliable cars, because their confidence doesn't come from logos. It comes from knowing who they are and what their money is doing for them. That's when I started shifting my mindset. I stopped chasing status and started chasing skills. I replaced my designer clothes with discipline and my fancy sneakers with financial goals. Today, I still like looking good. I just don't pay a premium for other people's approval. The richest look is quiet confidence, not loud labels. And speaking of expensive illusions, wait till you hear how my dream car turned into my biggest financial nightmare. I still remember the first time I bought a brand new car. It had that smell, you know, the one that makes you feel like you've finally made it in life. I was 27, proud and broke. I financed it at 4%, drove it off the lot grinning ear to ear, and by the time I got home, the car had already lost 20% of its value. My excitement depreciated faster than the car itself. For months, I told myself it was worth it. I polished it every weekend, parked far from everyone else to avoid scratches, and posted a photo online with the caption, "Hard work pays off." What I didn't post was the part where I could barely keep up with the monthly payments. That shiny car didn't make me successful. It just made me look like I was. Here's the truth they don't tell you. The moment you drive a new car off the dealership lot, it loses roughly a fifth of its value. After 5 years, it's worth about half. Think about that. If you spend $40,000 today, you're paying 20 grand just for that new car smell. Meanwhile, the wealthy aren't falling for that. Most of them buy cars that are 2 or 3 years old. Still reliable, still nice, just without the instant 20% haircut. They let someone else take the depreciation hit while they invest the savings. The car is meant to get you places, not define who you are. If you can't pay cash for it without flinching, you probably can't afford it. The funny thing is, when I stopped trying to look rich, I finally started building real wealth. Now I drive a used car that's fully paid off. It doesn't turn heads, but it also doesn't turn my stomach every time I check my bank balance. And every mile I drive reminds me, it's not about owning what's new. It's about owning your freedom. Speaking of freedom, let me tell you about another trap. The one that convinced me a bigger house meant a better life. Spoiler, it didn't. A few years ago, my buddy Jake bought what he called his dream house. 5 bedrooms, 3-car garage, marble countertops, and a backyard big enough to host a wedding. He called it an investment. I called it a mortgage with really good lighting. At first, everything looked perfect, but a few months in, reality hit him like a property tax bill. Literally, because that was one of his first shocks. Then came the HOA fees, the maintenance, the lawn care, the air conditioning that broke in the middle of summer. Suddenly, that dream house started to feel like a financial prison with better furniture. Jake wasn't living the dream. He was financing it. Every month, his paycheck went straight into his mortgage, taxes, and endless home repairs. The sad part? He barely had time to enjoy any of it because he was working overtime to keep it all afloat. And I get it. We've all been sold the same story, that a bigger house means you've made it. But here's the truth. Your house shouldn't be your trophy. It should be your shelter. I've met people with million-dollar homes who couldn't afford to fix their roof. And I've met millionaires who live in modest spaces but own everything outright. The difference? The first group works for their house. The second group lets their house work for them. The wealthy understand something most people don't. A house is not a symbol of success. It's just one piece of your financial puzzle. They choose function over flash. They pick homes they can easily afford. Then funnel the extra money into income-generating assets, stocks, index funds, rental properties, even businesses. Here's a simple rule I wish more people followed. If your housing costs more than 25% of your monthly income, you're not living in a home. You're living in a liability. It doesn't matter how fancy the kitchen looks if you're too stressed to enjoy dinner. So before you fall in love with that forever home, ask yourself this: do you want a house that impresses others or a life that gives you peace? I've learned that true comfort doesn't come from granite counters or high ceilings. It comes from knowing your money isn't chained to a mortgage. And speaking of expensive illusions, let's talk about the little weekend treats that quietly drain your bank account, the kind of fun that costs your future. Friday nights used to be my weakness. I'd tell myself, I've worked hard all week, I deserve this, and that this could be anything from a bar tab that cost more than my electric bill to a last-minute weekend trip that my credit card definitely didn't approve of. It always started with good vibes, friends, laughter, loud music. But by Monday morning, the hangover wasn't just physical, it was financial. My bank account looked like it had been out partying too. I used to think fun and responsibility couldn't coexist. Either you're saving money and being boring, or you're living life and being broke. Turns out, that's a false choice. The problem wasn't that I went out, it's that I went out without a plan. I was spending reactively, not intentionally. Here's what changed everything for me. I created a fun budget. I literally made a separate account, a small digital wallet, just for entertainment. Each month, I'd load it with a fixed amount, and once it ran out, that was it. No guilt, no debt. I could enjoy the night out knowing it was already paid for. That one habit took my weekends from stressful to satisfying. Look, I'm not saying skip every concert or stop grabbing tacos with friends. Life's meant to be enjoyed, but if your Friday fun is eating your future, it's time to draw a line. When you start telling your money where to go, it stops disappearing on you. If this part hits home, like the video, it's the cheapest thing you'll buy today. And trust me, the next time you wake up on a Monday morning without a money hangover, you'll thank yourself. Speaking of small habits that seem harmless but quietly cost you big, let's talk about all those random little things, the ones that clutter your home and your wallet. There was a time when my house looked like a discount store exploded. I'm not kidding. Every shelf, every corner had something labeled 50% off. I bought things because they were on sale, and now most of them live in my garage, collecting dust like retired employees. I used to tell myself I was saving money, but really, I was just buying clutter at a discount. It's funny how we convince ourselves we're winning when we see a red sale tag. We don't even stop to ask, do I actually need this? No, our brains go straight to, I'm saving $30. The irony? You can't save money you never had to spend in the first place. One day, I looked around my living room and realized half of what I owned didn't add any joy, productivity, or purpose to my life. It was just noise, physical and mental. That's when I started to understand something the wealthy have known all along. Minimalism isn't about living with less. It's about living with only what matters. Now, before I buy anything, I ask myself two questions. Will I still care about this a month from now? And would I buy it if it weren't on sale? If the answer is no, I walk away, usually feeling a little proud of myself and a lot lighter. Here's the thing, every item you own costs you something. Not just money, but space, energy, and attention. The less junk you have, the more room you create for the things that truly build your wealth, like focus, creativity, and peace of mind. So, buy less, choose better, and let your home and your wallet breathe again. And speaking of spending smart, let me tell you about the most expensive shortcut I ever bought and how it taught me the real difference between investing and getting scammed. The worst investment I ever made wasn't in stocks, crypto, or some bad business idea. It was a $499 get-rich-quick course. The ad promised I'd double my income in 30 days. All I had to do was follow their secret formula. And I fell for it. I clicked the link, watched a guy in front of a rented Lamborghini tell me how he escaped the 9-to-5 sweat, and before I knew it, I was typing in my credit card number like a man possessed. For a few days, I felt like I was on the verge of something big. Then I opened the course. Half the videos were motivational quotes stolen from YouTube, and the rest were vague advice like believe in yourself and take massive action. No real strategy, no tools, no knowledge, just expensive pep talk. I realized I didn't buy a course, I bought hope in a shiny package, and that's the problem. We all crave shortcuts. We want to skip the boring parts of success, the grind, the trial and error, and just fast forward to the good life. Our brains love the idea of easy money. But if getting rich in 30 days actually worked, Jeff Bezos would be teaching that class, not some guy renting sports cars for his thumbnail. What I learned the hard way is this: real wealth doesn't come from secrets. It comes from skills. It's built 1 hour, one decision, one piece of knowledge at a time. Money follows mastery, not motivation. The fastest way to get rich is still the oldest way. Get good at something people value and keep getting better. So now, instead of buying courses that promise the moon, I invest in skills that pay off in the real world: marketing, investing, communication, leadership. I read books by people who've actually done it. I learn from failure. I test, I build, I repeat. Here's the truth: most of those flashy ads won't tell you. There's no elevator to wealth. You have to take the stairs. It's slower, yes, but at least the view from the top is real. And speaking of real, let's talk about something that actually gives long-term returns. Not in dollars, but in health. Because the next thing I learned was this: when you ignore your body, your wallet pays the price. There was a time when I thought hustle was everything. I was working 12, sometimes 14 hours a day, chasing deadlines, chasing money, chasing this idea of success. I told myself I'd rest after I made it, but life had other plans. One morning, I woke up and couldn't even sit up straight. My chest was tight, my head spinning. A few hours later, I was in the ER, hooked up to machines that made more noise than my old laptop. The doctor looked at me and said, "You're not dying, but you're definitely not living right either." That hospital bill cost more than my first car. And the worst part wasn't the money. It was the realization that my body had sent me warnings for months, and I kept ignoring them. I used to think taking a break was a luxury. Now I know it's maintenance. Here's what most people don't realize: your health is your wealth. If you lose a day of work because you're sick, that's lost income. But if you lose your health long term, you lose everything that builds wealth: energy, focus, creativity, discipline. You can't grow your money if your body is breaking down. These days, I treat my health like an investment account. I sleep enough, I move my body daily, even if it's just a walk around the block, and I buy real food instead of junk. I even pay for health insurance, not because I expect to use it, but because financial peace means being prepared. The truth is, money amplifies who you are, but health determines whether you can even enjoy it. So if you're working yourself into the ground thinking it'll make you rich, stop. Rest, eat, move, breathe. That's not slowing down. That's building longevity. Because wealth isn't just about having a fat bank account. It's about waking up every morning with the strength to live the life you've built. And speaking of the life you're building, the next lesson I learned might surprise you. It's about how I stopped buying things altogether and started buying experiences. There was a period in my life when I treated Amazon like a therapist. Rough day, add to cart, lonely weekend, 2-day shipping to the rescue. Packages were my therapy. Each one a little hit of happiness landing on my doorstep. But that happiness faded faster than the cardboard boxes piled up in my hallway. At the time, I told myself I deserved it. I work hard, I earn this. And sure, maybe I did. But I wasn't buying things. I was buying feelings. That quick rush when you hit buy now, that's dopamine, the same brain chemical that lights up when you win a jackpot. Except this jackpot comes with a bill. The problem is, emotional spending doesn't fix what's broken. It just distracts you long enough to forget. Then the high fades, the guilt sets in, and you're back to where you started. Only now a little poorer. I used to think money was the cure for emptiness. What I learned is, it's just a mirror. It reflects whatever's going on inside you. The real shift happened when I stopped trying to buy peace and started to build it. Instead of chasing happiness through stuff, I began investing in experiences, dinners with friends, solo trips, books that changed how I think. I realized connection and growth gave me the kind of joy no object could. Now, before I buy something, I ask, is this filling a need or filling a void? Most of the time, I close the tab and go for a walk instead. And funny enough, that walk gives me more clarity than any purchase ever did. See, financial freedom isn't just about numbers, it's about emotional control. When you stop buying things to numb your feelings, you regain power over your money and your life. I'll leave you with this. True wealth isn't how much you have, it's how little you need to feel content. Because the moment you stop spending to feel better, that's when you finally start feeling free. I used to think wealth was all about how much I could earn, but over the years, I've learned it's really about how much I can keep. When I stopped buying those 10 things, the magic wasn't that I suddenly got rich, it was that my money stopped disappearing. For the first time, I felt like I was in control, not just of my wallet, but of my life. See, financial freedom isn't about perfection. It's about awareness, knowing what truly adds value, and having the courage to say no to what doesn't. Every dollar you save today is a brick in the foundation of your future, and that future can start with one simple choice. Stop buying for today so you can own your tomorrow. So let me ask you, out of the 10 habits we talked about, which one is your biggest wallet enemy right now? Drop it in the comments below. I read every one. And if you truly want to keep moving toward financial freedom, don't stop here. Keep learning, keep paying attention to your own habits, and take small, consistent steps every day. It's those tiny choices that eventually create the biggest transformation in your future. This is FinZebra, where we grow money and mindset together. Subscribe, not just to a channel, but to a community that believes in smarter habits, deeper freedom, and a richer life, one choice at a time.